Welcome to a world governed by ancient, unforgiving laws. A planet where every dawn is a prelude to a battle, and every sunset seals a judgment. We are about to strip back the veneer of tranquility and witness the unvarnished reality of the wild, where life is not a right, but a prize earned through relentless cunning, unparalleled strength, or sheer, unimaginable grit. The very air of the vast African wilderness is charged with a silent, primal energy, a constant hum of pursuit and evasion. It is here, on this colossal stage of life and death, that we introduce the first, most unbelievable paradox of survival, a dramatic confrontation that stimulates the human mind to question the very definition of power. It is a duel where size means absolutely nothing, and venom, the ultimate weapon of the Serpent Kingdom, is rendered utterly irrelevant. What creature could possibly turn a deadly fight with a lethal predator into a momentary nap, only to wake up and finish its protein-rich feast? This confrontation, this clash of titans in miniature, immediately draws the viewer into a spectacle of natural law defied, forcing a shift in perception about the fragility of life and the tenacity of the will to live. It begs the question, is it strength or is it sheer, irrational confidence that ultimately dictates survival? Let us find the answer by delving into the legend of The creature in question is the honey badger, a creature famed not for its imposing size. It is deceptively small, but for its unparalleled, almost mythical grit. It is a low-slung, black and white blur of pure defiance, a living testament to the power of a spirit that simply refuses to acknowledge the concept of fear. To understand this animal is to understand the absolute extremity of the survival instinct honed to a razor's edge. This member of the weasel family possesses a deceptively sturdy, muscular build, making it a compact, difficult target, a biological tank designed for perpetual motion and confrontation. Its most essential physical tools are its impossibly sharp claws, which are not mere appendages, but specialized instruments of destruction and labor. These claws are designed for relentless digging, allowing the badger to rip apart sun-baked earth and rock-hard termite mounds with casual ease, uncovering vital subterranean meals. But they are also used for leverage in a fight, anchoring the animal against the strongest opponents. This physical reality, combined with a skin that is notoriously thick and loose, allowing the badger to twist within its own hide even when gripped by a powerful jaw, makes it a unique adversary. The honey badger fearlessly roams a sprawling, dangerous territory, a patchwork of grassland and scrub filled with apex predators. It moves through this arena, unfazed by the presence of a stalking lion or a patrolling leopard, both of which possess the raw power to end its life in a single, crushing blow. Yet these massive predators often give the small, belligerent creature a wide berth. This isn't courtesy, it's a calculation. The badger's fury is so intense, its defensive retaliation so savage and unpredictable, that the cost of an unnecessary battle, a potentially debilitating injury, simply outweighs the reward of a quick meal. The badger's reputation is, in essence, its invisible, impenetrable armor, a psychological deterrent more potent than any physical defense. However, its most remarkable trait is not its bravery, but a biochemical marvel, a natural immunity to venom. This genetic inheritance allows the honey badger to confront one of the most feared killers of the savanna, the venomous cobra, and turn a potentially deadly duel into a protein-rich feast. The scene itself is a spectacle of high-stakes drama. The cobra strikes, injecting a dose of neurotoxin or cytotoxin that would rapidly kill any other mammal of its size. The badger reels but does not die. Instead, the venom initiates a temporary paralysis, inducing a profound near-death state. The badger, in its unconscious stupor, appears vanquished. But the clock is ticking only for the venom. The badger system possesses a resistance mechanism, a biological countermeasure that slowly, inexorably detoxifies the deadly poison. After a few agonizing hours, the animal wakes up, shakes off the residual paralysis, and with the same cold, unwavering focus, recovers to finish its meal. This ability to absorb a lethal blow, pause the fight, and return to the task demonstrates a survival instinct so powerful it transcends biology, speaking to a primal, unyielding will to prevail. It shows that true fearlessness is not the absence of danger, but the certainty of recovery. As we shift our focus, we find that the harsh environments of the world demand unique solutions, proving that survival often requires formidable, preemptive armor. Here, the defense is the offense, a visual declaration of "do not touch." The porcupine, a creature of unassuming pace, is armed with thousands of keratinized quills, each one a testament to evolutionary necessity. These are not merely stiff hairs. They are sophisticated, needle-sharp defenses, easily detachable and often tipped with microbarbs that ensure they lodge deeply into the flesh of any attacker. This natural weaponry forces even the top-tier predators, the powerful lions and the agile leopards, to retreat or risk a fatal reckoning. The quills can inflict deep puncture wounds, and more tragically for the predator, can splinter and migrate through muscle tissue, leading to agonizing, crippling infections that make future hunting impossible and often result in a slow death. The porcupine, by simply existing and defending itself, establishes a lethal no-fly zone around its body, demonstrating that effective self-defense lies not just in fighting, but in making the cost of the fight prohibitively high for the aggressor. The porcupine is a walking, breathing lesson in establishing boundaries, where a passive defense becomes the ultimate form of deterrence against the cruelest hunters of the African night. Meanwhile, the harsh desert environment, a realm of scorching sun and scarcity, hosts another master of the spiny defense, the long-eared hedgehog. This small mammal faces a dual challenge, the heat and the hidden dangers. It utilizes its disproportionately large ears for a vital function, thermoregulation. The thin membrane of the ears acts as a radiator, facilitating evaporative and convective cooling, a genius adaptation that allows the hedgehog to manage its core temperature and conserve precious energy in an environment that is constantly trying to cook it alive. This physical adaptation is a quiet triumph of engineering against environment. Beyond its spiny coat and its thermal radiator ears, the long-eared hedgehog holds a deeper secret, a remarkable resistance to certain toxins. Like its distant cousin, the honey badger, it is known to engage in a precise, deadly battle of wits with the venomous cobra, a confrontation that showcases agility over brute force. The hedgehog uses its spiny coat not just as a static defense, but as an active weapon, curling and uncurling with lightning speed. Its small size allows it to move beneath the snake's strike zone. With rapid, calculated movements, the hedgehog works to deliver a decisive, fatal blow to the snake's spine or the vulnerable back of its head. This maneuver, requiring extraordinary agility and timing, proves that clever, multifaceted defenses, combining the spiny armor with rapid, tactical movement, can triumph over raw power and neurolethal venom. The hedgehog's victory is a powerful narrative showing that the most successful survivors are those who leverage every possible evolutionary advantage, proving that the mind and strategy are often the sharpest weapons in the wild. Our journey now takes us to the vibrant, chaotic green heart of the Amazon rainforest, where life is lush, abundant, and utterly lethal. The river is the central nervous system of this world, and it is a battleground, a fluid arena where only the most specialized predators can claim dominance. At the water's edge stalks the magnificent jaguar, a master of stealth and a creature of legendary power. The jaguar's coat is a perfect camouflage against the dappled light of the forest floor, allowing it to dissolve into the shadows. Its hunting style is pure, terrifying efficiency, a patient ambush followed by a crushing, precise bite delivered directly to the prey's skull, a bite strong enough to pierce bone or even a caiman's thick hide. The jaguar is the solitary king of the land-water interface, a symbol of isolated physical dominance. However, the deepest currents of the river itself belong to the giant otters, creatures that challenge the jaguar's sovereignty not through individual strength, but through a magnificent, almost spiritual commitment to their family unit. Giant otters are intensely social creatures, bound by an extraordinary visible unity. They communicate constantly, their territory marked by scent and loud calls, and their lives are completely intertwined. They hunt, sleep, and patrol together. They are the epitome of cooperation in the wild. When the apex predator attacks, the dynamic flips entirely. The jaguars are solitary hunters, accustomed to demoralizing and overpowering isolated prey. The otters, however, do not scatter. They do not flee in disarray. Instead, they demonstrate an immediate, coordinated counterattack as a unified clan. This response is not blind panic. It is a meticulously choreographed, ferocious defense. A single jaguar facing a swirling, snapping mass of agile, wet otters is immediately overwhelmed. The otters use their collective numbers to surround the solitary predator, snapping at its limbs and flank, forcing the jaguar onto the defensive and robbing it of the opportunity to focus its deadly bite on a single target. The noise alone is often enough to send a clear
They're making
message.
a variety of chirps,
The predator,
whistles,
realizing
and
the fight will result in numerous painful bites and zero guaranteed reward, inevitably breaks off the attack and retreats, unwilling to risk injury for a meal that is defending itself with such astonishing, unified violence. This segment highlights an eternal truth of survival, that family bonds and unbreakable cooperation are the ultimate weapons against even the fiercest, most physically dominant solitary foe. The otters prove that communal strategy can shatter the dominance of individual power, forcing us to admire the beautiful, lethal choreography of their loyalty. Our focus now expands to encompass nature's most monumental narratives, the Great Migrations, annual pilgrimages driven by ancient, non-negotiable instincts. These journeys are not hunts or battles for territory. They are acts of profound, collective necessity, illustrating survival as a perpetual cycle of high-stakes sacrifice and renewal. In the vast ecosystem of the Serengeti and Masai Mara, millions of wildebeest and zebras embark on a grueling journey, a relentless march for fresh grazing lands. This is a spectacle of mass movement that defies human comprehension, a sea of animals driven by a powerful internal compass. They move not as individuals, but as an inseparable, desperate tie. This journey is a gauntlet, a constant confrontation with the cruelty of natural law. Every kilometer is a risk. They face the persistent pressure of predatory ambush from lions and hyenas, who follow the herd, picking off the weak, the old, and the young. The sheer density of the herd offers a form of protection, the safety in numbers principle, but it also guarantees an unrelenting supply of victims.
Driven by instinct, the massive herd hesitates at the Mara. The steep banks and the powerful current make this crossing a perilous journey.
The journey culminates in the deadly crossing of the Mara River, a terrifying, churning spectacle of survival. Here, the landscape of risk shifts from the savanna to the water. In the muddy currents lie the apex aquatic killers, enormous crocodiles, lying in wait for the annual feast. The crossing is chaos, a relentless, panicked plunge into the water where the animals must brave the current, the steep banks, and the snapping jaws of the reptiles. Many fall, drowned by the sheer weight of the crowd or dragged under by the crocodiles. Yet they push on. Their sacrifice is essential. It ensures the survival of the species on the other side. This collective suffering fuels the continuity of life, making the migration not just a journey, but a profound spiritual act of endurance.
Driven by instinct, the massive herds plunge into the churning brown water, facing the ultimate test of survival.
Simultaneously across the globe, in a landscape of cold, clear water and towering forests, the sockeye salmon undertake a migration of equal, yet entirely different sacrifice. These fish navigate from the vast, nutrient-rich ocean back to the very natal streams where they were born, driven by a genetic imperative to spawn. This is an uphill battle against gravity and exhaustion. They leap up treacherous waterfalls, expending every last calorie of their reserve, turning their bodies into pure biological fuel for the final act. They must evade the hungry, highly specialized bears who line the riverbanks, scooping the salmon out of the water with incredible efficiency. The salmon's end is not a failure, but the ultimate success. They spawn, depositing the next generation in the gravel beds of their home stream. Immediately after their bodies fail, they die and their carcasses are incorporated back into the ecosystem, dragged into the forest by bears, or simply dissolving into the water. The nutrients, marine-derived nitrogen and phosphorus from their ocean lives, nourish the surrounding vegetation, the insects, the animals, and the next generation of hatchlings. These epic journeys, the land crossing of the wildebeest and the river run of the salmon, illustrate that the great cycle of life demands a perpetual, high-stakes trade-off. Life sustained through individual sacrifice, and an entire ecosystem renewed by the journey's fatal, necessary conclusion. We transition now to the arid, sun-scorched landscapes of the North American desert, a world defined by vast, open spaces and concentrated sudden violence. Here, the rattlesnake reigns with a coiled menace, a symbol of silent, effective terror. Its weapon is its sophisticated hematotoxic venom, a biological cocktail designed to break down tissue and blood vessels, securing a slow but inevitable kill. The heat and the sand belong to this viper, and few creatures dare to challenge its domain. Yet a challenger exists, a creature perfectly adapted to the arid heat and blessed with lightning speed, the Roadrunner. This bird is an avian anomaly, spending more time sprinting across the desert floor than soaring above it, its specialized feet providing impeccable traction on loose sand. Its ability to maneuver at high velocity makes it a difficult target for the quick-striking snake. The confrontation between these two is a masterclass in psychological warfare and physical precision. The Roadrunner, far from being intimidated, actively seeks out the reptile. Its hunting strategy is a blend of speed and brutal, calculated violence. It uses its incredible agility to dodge the lightning-fast defensive strikes of the rattlesnake, frustrating the serpent and draining its energy reserves. The Roadrunner's tactics are focused on neutralizing the threat before consuming the meal. The climax of this duel involves a brutal technique. The bird grabs the snake by the tail or head and repeatedly slams its body against a nearby rock or the hard ground. This action is repeated with vicious intensity, the goal being to damage the snake's spine and central nervous system, effectively neutralizing the venom delivery system and the ability to fight back. Only when the snake is rendered fully immobile does the Roadrunner secure its meal. This hard-won victory is essential for fueling the Roadrunner's deeply committed, monogamous family life. The desert is a place of scarcity, and protein-rich meals, especially a large snake, are precious commodities. The Roadrunner is a tireless hunter, and every successful kill is a direct investment in the future of its lineage. Its chicks, fragile and vulnerable, are hidden safely within the thorny, nearly impenetrable thickets of the desert cactus, shielded from ground predators by the painful, dense needles. The Roadrunner's relentless hunting, the constant struggle against the snake, the heat and scarcity, is driven entirely by the imperative to deliver sustenance back to its secure, hidden nest. This duel, therefore, is more than a simple meal. It is a profound illustration of the parental survival instinct, where lethal cunning is directly converted into the protective nurture of the next generation. Moving back to the African grasslands, we encounter a secretive hunter whose elegance and athletic prowess define its success, the caracal. This medium-sized wild cat is instantly recognizable by its striking tufted ears, which are less decorative and more functional, acting as sophisticated radar dishes that swivel and locate the faintest sounds of scurrying prey. The caracal is a creature of magnificent contrasts, patient stealth combined with explosive, gravity-defying power. Perfectly camouflaged against the dry, tawny grasses of the savanna, the caracal relies on a blend of patience and sensory mastery. It can remain motionless for astonishing periods, becoming an invisible presence in the landscape, observing, listening, and calculating the exact moment to strike. Its unique tufts are thought to enhance its hearing and help pinpoint the exact location of prey rustling in the undergrowth, giving it a critical edge in the densely vegetated environment. The caracal is an opportunistic hunter, capable of taking down small antelopes and rodents, and when the opportunity arises, displaying a specialized technique for neutralizing snakes. However, the animal's signature move, the one that truly sets it apart, is a spectacular vertical leap. The caracal possesses exceptionally powerful hind legs, and it utilizes this musculature for a breathtaking, specialized hunt. It doesn't merely jump. It rockets over 3 meters straight into the air, reaching an altitude that seems impossible for a cat of its size. This maneuver is executed with surgical precision to snatch birds, such as guinea fowl, mid-flight, intercepting them as they attempt to take off or evade the ground threat. This ability showcases a unique and astonishing blend of stealthy, calculated stalking, followed by an explosive, almost aerial athleticism. The caracal's hunt is a perfect demonstration that mastery in the wild is often achieved through specialization, combining a cat's inherent stealth with a jumper's explosive power. It is a reminder that adaptation is not just about blending in, but about developing one single, unbeatable trick. We now plunge into the humid depths of the rainforest, where the grand battles of the savanna are replaced by a brutal war occurring on a microscopic, yet equally lethal, scale. Here, the sheer density of life means competition is amplified, and the line between predator and prey is often invisible to the naked eye. One of the most terrifying confrontations involves the Asian giant hornet, a creature of disproportionate size and staggering lethality. It is a flying, armored killing machine, driven by the singular goal of targeting honeybee colonies to capture the pupae and larvae needed to feed its own young. A small group of these hornets can decimate an entire hive of tens of thousands of bees in a matter of hours, their massive jaws making short work of the smaller, less armored defenders. This attack is a demonstration of concentrated, physical superiority and overwhelming predatory dominance. However, the relentless pressure of this hornet's predation has led to an incredible co-evolved defense among certain species, the Japanese honeybees. They have learned that direct, individual confrontation is futile. Instead, they activate a sophisticated social trap. When a scout hornet enters the hive, a large swarm of worker bees immediately descends upon the invader, encasing it in a dense, pulsing sphere known as a heat ball.
The hornet's armor is no match for the heat.
These bees do not sting the hornet. Instead, they vibrate their flight muscles simultaneously and intensely. This collective, rapid muscular action raises the internal temperature of the bee sphere to a critical, precise level, around 115 degrees Fahrenheit. This temperature is fatal to the hornet, which has a lower heat tolerance, but remains just below the lethal limit for the bees themselves. The invader is literally cooked alive by the coordinated, self-sacrificing collective. This act is an astonishing display of organized defense, proving that social strategy and unity can triumph over superior individual weaponry, and that true strength can be generated by thousands of small, synchronized efforts. Meanwhile, on the damp, decomposing forest floor, another form of silent lethality operates. The Linomia caterpillar, though seemingly innocuous, relies on an opposite form of defense: passive, hidden toxicity. This small larva, often camouflaged against tree bark, is protected by spines that are not merely irritating, but are filled with a potent, fatal anticoagulant venom. Accidental contact with this caterpillar can trigger leishmaniasis, a severe bleeding disorder that can lead to internal hemorrhaging and death in humans. This micro-warfare reminds us of the profound cruelty of natural selection, that in the wild, the smallest, most unassuming creatures can be the deadliest, and that danger is not always announced by roar or rattle, but can be a silent, invisible biological bomb. As the sun makes its final descent, extinguishing the visual world, a mysterious parallel realm awakens. The cover of darkness is not a time of rest. It is the shift change for specialized predators whose success hinges entirely on sensory adaptation and the absolute mastery of stealth. Gliding like a phantom on silent wings is the vampire bat, a mammal that challenges our preconceived notions of hunting. It does not rely on brute force or overwhelming size. Instead, it uses sophisticated high-tech tools. The vampire bat employs advanced heat sensors on its nose, thermoreceptors, that allow it to locate the precise minute temperature variations of a sleeping prey animal, enabling it to pinpoint the location of shallow, subcutaneous blood vessels. Its bite is surgical, delivered using razor-sharp incisors that slice through the skin with such precision that the victim often remains asleep. This silent, surgical feed, facilitated by an anticoagulant in the bat's saliva, reveals that true dominance in the night is achieved not through violence, but through a terrifying combination of sensory espionage and silent biological adaptation. Above the forest, the great horned owl dominates the skies. Its flight is the epitome of stealth. The edges of its flight feathers are structured like velvet, disrupting the air movement and enabling an almost total silence, a feature critical for ambush predation.
Tightly coiled,
Coupled with its
bathed
extraordinary
in the
night
relentless
vision and
desert
acute,
sun,
asymmetrical
the
hearing,
rattlesnake delivers
which
its
allows it to
ominous threat
triangulate
display.
the exact position of a sound source in 3 dimensions, the owl becomes an invisible, inescapable airborne hunter. It strikes rodents and small mammals with a crushing, silent force, its powerful talons delivering a swift, decisive end. The owl is a masterclass in the exploitation of sensory superiority, proving that for
They're
ruling
making a
the night,
variety of
silence
chirps,
and vision are
whistles,
far
and
more
grunts.
potent than speed. On a smaller scale, across every habitat, spiders weave intricate webs of silk, transforming the darkness into a death-trap labyrinth. These webs are marvels of biological engineering, designed for maximum tensile strength and stickiness, built to entrap unsuspecting victims. Once ensnared, the spider, often a small, unassuming sentinel, injects its venom. This venom is not just a killing agent, it is a biological liquefying cocktail. The spider effectively turns the internal organs of its victim into a nutrient-rich soup, which it then sucks out, leaving behind only the husk. This segment reveals the pervasive, silent truth of the night, that in the cover of darkness, specialized sensory adaptation, stealth, and calculated, patient design are the ultimate keys to ruling the concealed, dangerous world after dark.
The Great Migration is underway. A relentless, powerful surge of thousands of wild beasts.
We have borne witness to 8 magnificent, brutal, and utterly essential vignettes of survival. From the impossible grit of the honey badger to the synchronized heat warfare of the Japanese honeybees, and the silent, surgical precision of the vampire bat, the wild has shown us its non-negotiable code. Every creature, whether it employs collective force, physical armor, chemical resistance, or explosive agility, has one thing in common: an unwavering commitment to its own survival and the future of its lineage. The cruelty of natural laws, the constant fight for territory, the relentless need to hunt, and the inevitability of death is simply the engine of evolution. It forces not just strength, but cunning, specialization, and critically, adaptation.